CPI continues to absolutely fall off of a cliff, meaning that inflation may have been over 6 months to a year ago, and the Fed is still tightening. Bitcoin has also been trading in a very tight range. We expected some major volatility, but really didn't get it so far on CPI. It will be interesting to see what the stock market and Bitcoin do throughout the day. I've got Josh Frank here from the Tide to discuss all the data, everything we've got going on today. And then on the back half, of course, Christopher Inks of Texas West Capital to take a look at the charts. Let's go.
Let's go.
What is up, everybody? I'm Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets. Before we get started, please subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Yeah, if you listen to Macro Mondays and you listen to Mike McGlone, I don't know if there is a major Great Depression coming, but we've been doing that show for as many months as I can remember at this point, and every time he says every leading indicator, every forward-looking indicator says that inflation, CPI, PPI, etc., commodities prices falling off a cliff, and that continues to happen now, right? It's been pretty epic at this point how every single time they drop the CPI numbers, they come in below expectations. You can see it right here. Breaking June CPI inflation falls to 3%, below expectation of 3.1%. Core CPI inflation fell to 4.8%, below expectations of 5%. This is the first time core CPI has come in below 5% since December 2021. The 26-month battle against inflation may finally be nearing its end. When I start hearing that, it means that we're probably going to be at like 10% in 6 months, because if people are declaring it over, it's probably just starting. No, but honestly, it seems like this could have been the case many months ago. I talked yesterday about the fact that jobs data came in like double what was expected. The economy is just actually very, very strong. So maybe the Fed's just going to keep on tightening. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Josh, and we'll discuss everything else that is going on here. What's up, man? How are you?
What's going on?
You always have impeccable hair. Your hair is so much better than my hair.
My hair? Yeah, it depends. I'm within a week of a haircut. If I within 3 days from now, it's going to be totally ruined and over.
What's up with that? Like, I feel like I need to go get a haircut every week, but I end up getting one every 3 weeks or so.
If we take instead of the consumer price index, the HCPI, the haircut price index, because we're like up 40% over the last year. I remember getting a haircut
in New York City.
A haircut in New York City is like $40 these days.
Like that's like, and you could probably go to a place that's like 70 or 80. Either way, you got.
Oh, 100%. I go to the walk-in place with, you know, the 7 guys there, and whoever's there gives you a haircut, and that's like $40 these days.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of things we could talk about here. Obviously, I'm just going to go ahead and bring up this news. Crypto traders prepare for Bitcoin volatility as focus shifts to US CPI. Funny, because I just looked at the tie because I have the 5-minute chart on there, which is where it defaults. The volatility was on this CPI news went to 31,000 and down to 30,600. Literally a $400 range was the total of the volatility that we got on this great CPI announcement. Now we have a whole day to go now, but it almost seems like Bitcoin's just not caring about the economy anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, you can see you have your macro futures data right below it, right? You know, if you go scroll down, S&P, NASDAQ futures are up about 1%. Bitcoin on the day is up 1% as well, but on the hour, it's actually down. You know, Bitcoin is up modestly on this announcement, but it hasn't really reacted. Whereas, you know, a 1% move on the S&P is more significant than a 1% move on Bitcoin. So
that's like a 5% move on Bitcoin, right? But this article here is saying that we should prepare for volatility. It's kind of like saying that eventually it's going to rain when you're looking at Bitcoin, right? I mean, it's sunny outside for a week. Eventually you could say, hey, maybe in the next week it'll rain, but they're pointing at the fact that Bollinger Bands here are so exceptionally tight. I think it says that the Bollinger Bands have only been this tight since January and a handful of times literally in history. So for anyone who doesn't know, when you're looking at Bollinger Bands, one of the indicators here, when they get this tight, it can stay that way for a while, but whichever direction it breaks, you expect an exceptionally big move. But like I said, I mean, don't you just know that by the fact that it's basically been trading between 30 and 31,000 for the last few weeks? I mean, the volatility always returns.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's realized volatility is basically, with the exception of maybe one day earlier this year, at its lowest level in the last 3 years. So it's really range bound and tight.
Why do you think that is?
I think everyone is waiting to see where the market goes, right? I mean, when we were trying to come up with topics for the show, there's nothing to talk about because nothing's going on, right? And so that there's nothing going on from a positive or negative perspective, right? And what that means is, I think the market is waiting for something to happen. What the market is really waiting for to happen is either one of the Ripple lawsuit or the Bitcoin ETF approval, right? I mean, I think we're kind of in a wait and see mode. We had we had all the SEC lawsuits. The market drew down on that. The market decided that didn't really matter for Bitcoin. That was more, altcoins. Then we had obviously the BlackRock ETF filing. Market pumps back up, especially Bitcoin. Now it's like, okay, the filing happened. Everybody, like, it doesn't matter who else files. If Vanguard and everybody else file tomorrow, at this point, everyone's in the race, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. And so I think at this point, the next big thing that's going to decide where the market comes is either one, some crypto stupidity, because that seems to happen every couple of weeks. It's actually amazing how we did have the multi-chain hack. We've had a few things, but nothing that significant. Hack here and there is nothing for crypto.
Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday, exactly. But I think we're waiting for some event, right? I think it's going to be some event, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be a macro event unless the Fed decides not to raise rates or they say we're done raising rates for the year. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a macro event that's going to move the market. I think it's going to be a crypto event, and I think it's going to be the ETF decision one way or another. Because I think if the ETF is not approved, we see a really strong sell-off. The ETF is approved. I still think there's more buying to come.
So we're going to be sideways for a while, which aligns with sort of slow summer seasonal price action anyways. I mean, it's anecdotal. I can look at the chart, but it feels like every summer you can just go outside and touch grass and ignore this market entirely until September or October.
Yeah, I mean, go on vacation, go take some time, chill. I mean, it's crypto, so shit always hits the fan. Shit always happens. Something will come. There will be something that happens between now and the ETF decision date. But I don't know what it is. I really think the market is in a wait and see mode. I mean, I think, look, there's a chance that a few people come in. I think the other thing that could happen as well is some people with inside information know the ETF filing is getting approved, and they're going out and they're going to go and start buying. We talked about the Fred Ursam thing, which I don't think he thinks the ETF is going to get approved necessarily, but Fred Ursam, who is one of the co-founders of Coinbase, has actually been, he sold a ton of stock post IPO at $300, $200. He's been buying like absolute crazy over
$125 million worth.
Yeah. For reference, he was a co-founder of Coinbase, and now he is the founder and managing partner of Paradigm, which is the largest venture fund in crypto. So he's very well capitalized. But look at this. I mean,
But this is basically, is this his family office or is this personally? I mean,
I don't know.
I assume it's personally.
Either way, it's his money. Yeah.
It says relationship director. So, but I'm saying this isn't for Paradigm. This is him personally.
Oh, this is him personally. This is Paradigm as external capital. Yeah, he's a director at Coinbase. I think that's why it's showing his inside.
Oh, right. And actually, they've showed when you dig into it that people have criticized obviously Brian Armstrong for selling, but really he's sold so little in the last year. I think like $16 million worth in total or something. Well, but these guys, the insiders, are buying. I mean, you look at the chart. I don't think people realize how. I mean, we can just delete this, but how people realize how big this move is, right? I mean, going back to January, it's trading at $30. It's at $90.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you go back to January, tripled. It's a 90% move from the lows in June. Yeah. It's 90% in a month, which is insane. But it's tripled in price this year. Tripled.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that is absolutely insane.
If you believe in crypto long term, you have to believe in Coinbase. It is the best that we have in terms of it is a regulated, publicly listed exchange in the US that has done everything that they possibly can to try to be a good actor and do the right things over the years, right? I mean, the securities lawsuit is a securities lawsuit, and every other exchange in the US has listed these assets. So that's a crypto thing. That's not a Coinbase specific thing, right? So I don't know. I think, look, if you believe in crypto, you buy Coinbase, and every private crypto company is completely overvalued, right? And so, with Coinbase, you had the opportunity to buy, a company that at its peak that will do 4 or 5 billion in revenue for $8 billion, right? I mean, I think was at one point what the valuation dropped to, or $10 billion.
And they just have tons of cash.
They're still well capitalized, and they're they're building a more diversified business, right? So, they're now starting to generate more non-transactional revenue. I mean, the question is, what does that mean? Because I think they bucket like staking rewards and things into that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good sign, right? You want buying of crypto, and look, or of Coinbase, and you can also go and you can look at, like, we could look at the 13F filings and actually see, like, are real institutions buying Coinbase, and I presume they are.
So real institutions are apparently buying everything crypto related that's not nailed down, right? We've got GBTC obviously at the lowest discount. We talked about yesterday, about 27%. Bitcoin has formed a firm foundation under 30 grand. That's irrelevant. But here we go. And $500 million has poured into Bitcoin funds in the past 3 weeks. This from Jane Butterfill at CoinShares. They had been in really a steady outflow mode, and now we're seeing $500 million, which erased 9 weeks of outflows in 3 weeks of inflows. But it's really important to note this is all Bitcoin. 133 million in Bitcoin, second place, 2.9 million in Ethereum. Nobody cares about anything that's not Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I do think it's important to note that on the sideline, while all this is happening and there's all this talk about Bitcoin, a lot of the large asset managers are going out and they're working on tokenization programs on other chains, right? There's tokenization actively occurring on Avalanche. There's tokenization actively occurring on Polygon and on other chains that you wouldn't think, like Stellar, for example, has a partnership with, I believe, Franklin Templeton and I'm blanking on the French bank as well that they're partnered with on tokenization too. So it's not just Bitcoin. Yes, all the
Société Générale, I think.
Yeah, SocGen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, all the attention's on Bitcoin right now, but I think there are more things happening with traditional finance on other chains than we've seen in the past, and I think we'll start to see that news break in the coming months and years. Right? It's not gonna be overnight, but yes, while the interest is all on Bitcoin, as we've seen a million times, and I think I've said this before on your show, when no one's talking about crypto, buy Bitcoin. When everyone starts talking about Bitcoin, buy shitcoins. And when everyone starts talking about shitcoins, run. Right. And so I think we're starting to get to the point where where everyone starts talking about Bitcoin phase of the market, which I think means, look, I think there's still more to come with Bitcoin, but I think that's going to mean, look, alts are going to follow. Right. And the reason that alts follow is because people in crypto are completely degenerate. And
and because everyone's saying now there will never be another cycle and alts won't get their money. Right.
Well, it's because if Bitcoin goes up to 60 grand, everyone's gonna be like, shit, Bitcoin already had its run. I got to go catch the next wave and throw their money in alts. We've all done it. You've done it. I've done it.
I'm going to do it. I'm ready to do it. Exactly. I'm waiting to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe now it's time to do it. I don't know. We just talked about the fact that Bitcoin kind of went from 25 to 31 on the BlackRock news. Maybe it does just chill here all summer until August when we either get an answer or the first kick down the road. And maybe you just find select little altcoins. We always have a something summer, whether it's a DeFi summer or an NFT summer. It's July. What summer are we going to have?
I don't know.
Bitcoin summer? Feel boring.
Maybe a Tron summer. Justin Sun is, all over the place for these days.
Yeah, when he starts really like appearing, it makes me a little nervous.
I agree.
About TUSD, and then all of a sudden, he's kind of everywhere. I mean, I don't know if you saw this, but I was looking for it while you were talking. Vanguard buys 10% stake in Bitcoin miner Riot. So talk about, and something I completely missed the mark on, mining stocks all up 3x year to date, outperforming any crypto related stock coin, which was just below, and a majority of tokens. Pretty crazy. I mean, this is Riot, Hut, IRA. I mean, it's pretty insane. Clearly, this to me means that institutions are buying everything they can that's Bitcoin adjacent in the hopes that the ETF gets approved. Is that what you think is the correct view on that?
I think there's a couple of things. I think the first is that everyone thought the miners were going out of business. A lot of them, like Core Scientific, filed for bankruptcy already, right? When Bitcoin started to drop down to 16K, from speaking to a lot of the largest miners, they were profitable around 25K. So and that was without all of the fees from BRC20s and all the other shit that we can talk about that have moved the amount of fees paid to miner up. But everyone thought these miners were going down. All of these lenders had really bad loans to miners. They had to take mining equipment as collateral. I mean, no one was looking to buy mining equipment, right? The secondary market for mining equipment crashed. Celsius bankruptcy, they were a giant miner. All of their equipment was potentially going to go up for auction. So everyone really kind of maybe slightly overreacted to how bad everything was for miners, but things were really, really bad. And look, when Bitcoin goes from 16K to 31K, right? If you're mining, just there, you're doubling the revenue for mining. But on top of that, the Bitcoin network was being used a lot more for things like ordinals, right? And so the rewards getting paid to miners were even more significant than the move on Bitcoin. So I think it was partially a correction, but also the fact that, it should be up more than the price of Bitcoin theoretically, just in that they're making more money than, because fees are higher.
So are you saying that ordinals and BRC20 tokens saved Bitcoin? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it probably saved some miners.
Pretty crazy. And also, it does kind of put at least something in place for the argument that one day all the Bitcoin will be mined and there will be no miners and the network will die. If we see actual use cases for it, they can make more in the actual sort of transactional fees than they can in the mining fees.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. I mean, I think we're gonna have to figure out something at some point, but that's a problem for later. Let's not deal with it today.
You're not worried about 2147 or whatever.
No, I think we have to worry about much sooner dates than 2147. I mean, mining 1/10 of a Bitcoin per block, or even half of it. I mean, even. I mean, every halving has an impact, right? It doesn't have I don't think this halving has any impact on Bitcoin price unless the narrative has an impact on Bitcoin price. Because every halving, when you're at 50 to 25 Bitcoin per block, right? The first halving, that's really significant. But now we're going from 6.25 to 3.125 Bitcoin per block. Every halving continues to have less and less of an impact on the price of Bitcoin, but it certainly has an impact on the rewards that miners are generating, right? I mean, now miners are probably buckling down and are like, oh shit, we have to make money for the next 12 months in anticipation for what happens with the next halving.
I kind of get this feeling that this has become a really crowded trade, though, to buy everything Bitcoin related, and that maybe that's a signal that things aren't going to be as exciting as we hope for quite a while. I mean, we keep talking about sideways. That's what I think is going to happen too. But the more these people pile into all of these things, the more I start to think we get sort of this local top and chill for a while.
Yeah, I don't. Right now, there's no massively bullish thing on the horizon other than the ETF getting approved. Or a lawsuit win, right? If it turns out that Binance didn't do all the terrible things they're accused of, that's probably a good thing as well. So I think it's some SEC win or this ETF getting approved are the two things that we and look, I know I'm stating the obvious, right? I know everyone knows that, but I just don't know what else it's going to be unless, all of a sudden MicroStrategy has the best quarter ever and decides that they want to, and
buy all
sure
Bitcoin.
They will continue to buy Bitcoin, but
Yeah, but those, he just bought a metric ton, and then that doesn't move them. I mean, that may have been what was helping move the market up. I doubt it, but yeah, I think you're the one who actually pointed out the news comes out, but it was like since April they've been sort of slowly
over a period of 3 months. It was over a period of 3 months. Yeah, look, I mean, or what I think is a positive is that people look at Bitcoin today and they go, if BlackRock can put their name on this, it can get their name behind this, right? Like, why can't we? And I think what it actually does is for those that are working. So for everyone that doesn't know, all the large asset managers and hedge funds, they have a crypto guy or they have a crypto team. The challenge has been that crypto guy goes up to the senior level with ideas, and then the senior people go, no, not happening. Every time he goes up with an idea, it kind of gets shut down, or it gets slow rolled, or it takes a really long time. Potentially what happens with all of the tokenization initiatives and what's happening with Bitcoin is these guys start to be able to build a little bit better of a case. And they're like, well, BlackRock's doing it. They're the largest asset manager. Why are we not doing it? Right. And so I think that's also something that's not going to take days. That's not going to take weeks. That's not even going to take months. It's going to take years. But I think it's something that's also being maybe underappreciated in the market from a longer term point of view.
Yeah, I'm just looking at charts across the board. I'm actually pretty surprised at the lack of volatility on everything at the moment with CPI today. I think now I'm starting to get the feeling that all news is priced in, and now we can just trade charts. Until we get some huge news, like you said, it's either BlackRock ETF, an SEC action. Stocks now don't even care, I don't think, about inflation news and CPI. I think they care for like 6 hours and then it's over and you go back to the chart. It just seems like nobody cares. That's what it feels like. It's the news cycle is just, it's too exhausting. There's too much. I think yesterday we were pointing out there's like 9 Fed speakers this week. CPI, right? I mean, they're all going to say different stuff. I think it's crazy that they're going to still tighten, to be quite honest. I mean, that's like the lead on Bloomberg today is this: softer U.S. inflation data unlikely to dissuade Fed from July rate hikes. Great. So what happens then? Nothing. Do you think that a rate hike in July moves the market? Certainly not the crypto market, I don't think.
Yeah, look, I think it just depends. It depends on how long term your perspective is, right? So, yeah, look, if they raise rates twice the rest of the year, right? What are they thinking? They're going to raise them 50 bips more or something?
That's it. That's priced in. That's what I'm saying. So unless we get 50 in one meeting, nobody cares.
Yeah. So I don't know. And eventually they, inflation is going to continue to cool. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like everything is completely unaffordable. I mean, everyone listening, you don't need to see, inflation numbers to realize how ridiculous things were over the last few years. Right. So it's great that things are cooling.
Look at your hair. Yeah, look at his hair. That's a $50 hair, $50 haircut from Supercuts.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that's kind of interesting to me, if we look at the market, Solana has had a pretty big rebound, up 47% over the last 30 days. Bitcoin Cash has somehow managed to continue to perform.
Yeah, what's up with that, dude?
I don't know. Bitcoin Cash it's a weird asset, right? I mean, when Bitcoin forked and Bitcoin Cash was created in 2018, right? I don't know if you remember, but Bitcoin Cash ran up to $4,000. It's now trading at 280. Right. And basically every single person sold that fork as a dividend. Right.
One trading weekend I can ever remember in the history of crypto.
That was an awesome.
2 weeks after the fork or something. I can't remember specifically, but there was like 15 to 20% an hour volatility on Bitcoin Cash for 48 straight hours.
It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. It literally went up to, I don't know, pull up the chart. It went up to $4,000. And then I think it just totally got decimated. But it's a really weird asset, right? The reason I don't fully buy the reason that people are super excited about it, which is the fact that
it's a commodity. That's why.
Yeah, because it's a fork of Bitcoin. People view it as a commodity. And because of that, it can be listed on all the various exchanges. And it can be traded by, institutions that maybe couldn't trade other assets because it is a commodity. But it doesn't do anything. And it doesn't have the same narrative that Bitcoin has. I think there's a lot of insiders, and I think there's a lot of mining and a lot of miners that happen to have Bitcoin Cash in China that might be, in some ways behind manipulation of this market. Yeah. Look at that run that it had. You have a log.
It was months. Yeah. Here, let me look. Now they've changed how you do this. Regular. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
When you put it linear, the volatility is insane. And look how flat it's been and how little of a move this actually is when you do it. I always look at
the thing that's crazy to me is just how it's maintained that 180% price move over the last 30 days. It just doesn't seem real.
It can't just be the narrative, right? That's the
because if we want to take that narrative, right, Litecoin is in that same bucket. Litecoin over the last 180 days is up. 30 is up 25%. So it doesn't make sense, right? Like,
why not Ethereum Classic? Why isn't that a commodity? Come on, guys.
Ethereum Classic is up 26%. So it's actually performed exactly the same way as Litecoin. But the BCH on its own, there was some, if you go and look at liquidations, there were some liquidations on Bitcoin Cash. Open interest went up, but nothing significant. I don't know. It signals to me there's more going on than we think there's going on there.
Yeah. Now I have to do a quick educational lesson for Ian, who's asking how to change between log on TV. It used to be right here, but they changed it. You would just click on log, and auto was the other one, but you go logarithmic to regular. It's over here. Click on this thing, go logarithmic to regular. See, we help people here with very important things. All right, Josh, before I let you go. So is there a trade right now? Like, what are you watching? Is it now like we just had it? The trade was, hey, BlackRock ETF, you got a 20% move in Bitcoin in a week. I iced you.
It's a really hard question. It's a really hard question what the trade.
I don't have an idea.
I think the trade right now is news, right? It's monitoring news. It's seeing things that are going out and it's tracking narratives and seeing what the next narrative that emerges is. I think there's still some juice left in the AI trade. Not in that I believe that's the end all be all of it's going to go straight to the moon, but I think there's going to be a lot of volatility with it AI. So I think that's something to continue to watch out for. And I would continue to watch out for a lot of crypto venture funds raised way too much cash. They have to deploy that capital. Monitor where they're deploying that, because there might be a trade in wherever that capital is starting to go to.
So yeah, right. So if they sort of choose a genre or an area, just follow the money. Didn't you say? Exactly. Didn't we say that we had a piece that A16Z, speaking of venture capital, is doing something with Snoop? Where is it?
Co-invested together in a new iTunes apparently on chain or something.
I got it. I feel like I'm so fast because I've got the tie. Snoop Dogg and A16Z back Web3 music platform sounds 20 million funding round. I have 20 million funding round for A16Z is literally like they took 30 seconds of due diligence to do that. Yeah, these guys need to write like $300 to $500 million checks for it to matter. For their
have to drop it like it's hot, but enjoy the Snoop.
Oh, I see what you did there, guys. Follow Josh, and I think are you going to be on Spaces today?
I'll be on Spaces. I'm joining about 15 minutes late, but I'll be on today.
How dare you?
All right.
All right, man. Thank you. And guys, obviously, since we're about to move on in a minute to talk to Chris, you know how we do it on Wednesdays. Chris, the co-host on the back half of the show. But this time we decided to just have Chris instead of bringing on a trader, because last time it didn't feel like he got his proper time in my mind. But I got to obviously mention to you guys the new sponsor. If you've been reading the newsletter, so it's over there. I pointed the right way for the first time in history with the mirrored screen. Awesome. MELD. It was amazing. Scrolling down the bottom as well, an actual bank. And when you participate in DeFi, it is non-custodial, and therefore you keep your own assets, so you can't get rug pulled like Celsius and BlockFi and Voyager. If you click on the link down below, it'll take you to the early access pass. You basically sign up, get on the waiting list for it to start. So you can do that down below. You just sign up and check it out. Sign up and check it out because you love me. Tell them I sent you. And now, without further ado, to move on to more about charts and trades and to get perspective on the market, my mentor, Chris Inks. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Scott? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Glad to see you, because we just were talking a whole lot, and I saw you came right on when I was kind of pointing to the fact that I think right now is going to be one of those great technical times where we can just kind of look, because everybody's searching for a narrative when we just had one.
Yeah.
And so, now is one of those times that like we're all like, it's going to be so boring, and it just goes to 40,000.
Yeah, it definitely a possibility. If we look here at the DXY here, this is actually the dollar futures chart. What was that?
It's falling off a cliff.
Oh yeah. I mean, the CPI numbers just came in. I was talking about yesterday on my show, and I mentioned how we were probably going to get lower, especially on core inflation, which was the important part because of the used car prices dropping. And man, oh man, it didn't cease to impress. We got down below there. I think they were expecting something like 5.1.
Expecting 5 and it
4.8. Yeah. But even there was a huge drop there with the headline CPI. I mean, man, we were looking at going from 4 to 3.1, and it came at 3.0 or something. I mean, so it even missed on that, and it's huge. So yeah, Fed probably going to raise the interest rate still. I think they're kind of committed to that. I can't say I'd be surprised if they didn't, but really I think they're committed to it. So I think we get this quarter point rate hike. But man, this does a lot of damage to that idea. They have to keep hiking. And so when their next one comes up, you've got more CPI, and if you see it continue to drop, especially at core CPI, I don't think they have a whole lot of reason why they would keep raising that. So, as long as their stuff keeps coming in like this, we can expect the dollar to continue to drop. And so here we are. We've got this nice large descending channel here coming down. From that all-time high. And then locally, we've got this huge kind of barrier triangle, descending triangle here. We'll probably get, if I'm looking here, we'll probably get a bounce here and then the drop through maybe. But this is, we're right here around that 100.7 area right now. 100's huge. 100's big, psychological level. It's a tens number. It's a zeros number. It's just begging to be cracked. And when it cracked, I mean, you can see we've been going sideways since the first touch way over here on February, at the beginning of February. So, however many months that is, because I can't count really well. Yeah, what is
That
that,
was
about 6
hard.
months or so, 7 months, something like
Yeah, I
that?
see the
Anyway.
low there was it looks like 30th of January, 1st of February ish. So
Yeah.
5 months.
And you see, we've hit it multiple times. And so I'm just expecting to kind of come on through. So nothing's changed there. With that, anything dollar based, price wise is going to get a lot of pressure taken off it. So, to me, that signals, hey, we've got some upside coming for, Bitcoin and crypto and stocks and whatnot overall.
Yeah. I mean, I've had this DXY chart. I thought it was going to break down on this sort of head and shoulders. There's a weak left shoulder, of course. But now he kind of looks like you have a complex head and shoulders and still is just going to die.
Yeah, exactly. And heading down toward those low 90s area, same thing I've been talking about since we hit that top up there. So I feel good about it. I like it. It doesn't mean things happen overnight. I think a lot of people hear this and they go, oh my God, tomorrow or today. But again, I do think we'll likely get a bounce here for a little bit, and then we'll get the follow through lower. And then it's going to be a strong move down. It's a third of a third wave. So yeah.
Stocks gapped up big time. I just saw.
Excuse me, do what?
I just happened to see the SPX gapped up pretty big today. No, I guess no surprises there on that on that news. So what are you looking at with Bitcoin? Are we still looking at the same kind of targets? High 30s, low 40s, maybe even.
Yeah. Nothing's changed there. Right now, we're still sideways. You don't enter into a trade here. We're basically around the mid range here of this range that we've been in for a few weeks. It's not a good place to enter. You're usually looking for some kind of reaction or follow through at the swing low or the swing high before you enter. But, I think we might get a move up toward the top of the range, pull back, and then break out. And, we've got a 1-2-1-2 here. So wave circle 3 right up there around 43,380. Just so you know, I don't, I think a lot of people go in here, they go, oh, that's what you have to do. That's what you think is going to happen. Well, yeah, that's what I think, but there's always invalidations and whatnot. So I could see a potential dip down below the swing low here to tag the daily pivot area and then rally up. But if we're falling impulsively through this daily pivot and we close below it, like on a 4-hour time frame, I think there's a good chance we come on down here maybe to 27.3 or maybe even
S1
26.4 down here. But to me, all that would just be a 1 and a 2, and then we've got 3 up. So nothing more than what we've had here along the way, which are just pullbacks before we rally higher. So that's the complete way how I'm looking at it. If we do pull back, I'm not worried about it. Here's where I'm looking. Here's where
do you worry? So that was going to be my next question. For me, it's if we retrace that entire BlackRock move and go like below 25 and start closing candles, then I would start to be concerned that I'm wrong. Yeah.
I mean, until it actually breaks down below this swing low here. So what is this? That's at 25,000 there. Yeah. Until we actually break down there, I'm not even worried about it. If we do that, I mean, again, I've talked about the possibility. The other option was maybe this is a leading diagonal here. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. And we're there. Yep.
But if it's a diagonal, you should be getting a strong reaction drop off when you hit that swing high. And we're just going sideways. So that really puts that low on my list of possibilities of what's going on right now.
Okay. So then what are you looking at beyond this? Because I agree with you. Bitcoin's not tradable. I've been saying, I mean, you just can't touch it in here, like
it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Unless you're like on a 5-minute time frame or something.
Yeah. So, right. I mean, I was laughing. I mean, the 5-minute today at least did, it's down at when you look at the 5-minute, which is this, it does look really exciting.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but you got the pump on. It's weird. I mean, it's always this case though. Even when you look on low time frames, that the first reaction to any of these big news events is wrong.
Yeah.
It pumped right up to 31,000, which, by the way, it should be a bullish thing, and then all of a sudden dumps. It's just always wrecks everybody on both sides.
Always volatile around news events. That's why I usually try to stay out at those times. But yeah, I've got a couple of things I'm watching here. I've got this Wi-Fi USDT here. This is the weekly chart. I think this gives us probably a pretty awesome opportunity down here to buy. If we can break out through 11,210, that's going to confirm that. And we've got a minimum expected target of 21,260. But that's just on the way up higher. At that point, I would expect us to take out the swing high and, continue heading up on there. So right now, I want to see it break out above this 11,210 to really get excited about it. But like I said, that gives us a minimum expected target right there, 21,260. And that just sets the stage for, much further up overall on that.
Anything else you're looking at? There was
Yeah, man, I
something
got two
was
more here.
looking
I
at that I wanted to ask you
got
about. Now I can't remember. Oh, Meta's over 300. Wow, crazy.
oh, they're all doing great, man. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I've got INJ USDT here weekly again. It looks like we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got a fifth wave. I'm thinking we're headed up here to this R2 pivot area on the weekly, right around $13.10 or so. And a rejection there will pull us back down to this, this R1 pivot or a little bit below it, right in this area. What is that? $7.15, $7.20. And then again, it's going to be off to the races after that for INJ. INJ has been that one that's just been doing great here off that swing low from last year, off that June, July
and it
area.
just had this break too. I mean, for anyone who used descending, I mean, that's a pretty clean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches up, perfect retest, and just moving off, right? So that to me is one of my favorite charts right now as well. Injective.
Oh yeah, been loving it. It's been great. Yeah. And remember Theta?
I do. I actually clicked. I saw that it was like maybe it was one of the trending coins today, or I just happened to. I was scrolling through the screener and it was up like 7 or 8% when everything else was kind of flat. So I did notice that today.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's doing pretty good here. Looks like we got a 1-2-1-2 setting up. It gives us this interior wave 3 minimum expected target around 88.5 cents. Gives us that larger wave 3 up here around $1.16. And again, that just kind of sets up further movement up. By the way, that's an initial target of $1.16, secondary target. It'll probably hit the secondary target about $1.30 because it looks like we're going to get some overextension here as we get to this wave 3. So I think it'll probably get up there to about $1.30. And again, that's just setting up the start on the way to the higher moves up. So.
Want to see something hilarious? Here, I love to open these charts of names you bring up that I haven't looked at in a long time, and then you bring it up and it looks like this. $8.60, $6, $4.40, $2.20, where you have to, that was obviously wrong, but where you have to scroll down to find the price action because you haven't
just kept going. Yeah.
It's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, looking on the week, I bet that's going to be a bullish divergence there. Have you even checked that?
I like that, man. And I like where that low comes in. If you look left over there, you've got
I knew it would be. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not quite, actually. That was a lower low, I thought. I mean, you kind of have a long one here. It's probably there like on the monthly, but yeah. That's a pretty nice low off of this right here, right? I mean,
I love the area that it's finding there. I like the reaction. So, we're looking for it to just kind of continue up through that.
I mean, you got to love that.
Look at that. Yep.
That's beautiful.
Just need that follow
I hadn't even thought of it. And now I'm just like, sorry, I'm going to put your screen back on. And yeah, obviously got that kind of thing going on. Yeah, there you go. I just got on a little charting spree there.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the way it was for a lot of mine as well. We kind of pull it in there, especially these older coins that we've been looking at. You and I've been trading for, years. And you kind of then, it's bear market. And then there was all the new stuff prior to that. And you kind of look at it and you go, dang, okay. It just kept on falling there. But
Mark Ferris says, Mark Ferris says, anyone know which volume profile indicator that is? I can't find one that ties itself to the right edge like that. Is that just standard VPVR or do you have a special one?
No. That's just the VPVR or the visual range. Yeah.
VPVR, Mark. That's what it's called.
I don't think you can find it anymore typing in VPVR like we used to. I think you have to type in visual range now.
Really?
Yeah.
They've changed a lot on TradingView actually in the last few weeks, but it's really great because it gives you another sort of way to use volume to look at resistance and support. Because you can
look at it. It tells you where the market's interested.
Above, you know that there's a bunch of people trying to probably get out of an old position they've been sitting in forever.
Wait, we try and get out of it? I thought we just let it go to zero and then complain about it.
Well, that too. Try to see. Someone was asking. Brian wants to know, will Link ever go up again?
Oh, Brian, my friend, Brian, check this out, man. Check this.
I bet you have Link up.
Look at that.
I saw it up there.
Look at that right there.
I think Link is in one of the most epic accumulations and will just absolutely moon when finally everyone's asking that question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it looks just primed right now. I mean, I look at that structure. It looks, nothing's ever guaranteed. But, man, when I'm looking at that volume price relationship and how we've got going on there, I mean, that looks like clear accumulation. Again, and it's coming at, this significant area here, right? This resistance, support right here. We've just hit this high volume node area. So, pop above that, man, there we go. Probably rally up toward the swing high here at around 9.5, pull back, and then probably break out after that. But yeah, man, I've been talking about that one for months. I love that. One of my favorites to be talking about. Everybody freaked out when it dropped down below, when it broke down. Everybody's like, oh yeah, look, I told you it was going to go down. It's dead. It's going to zero. And it like squeaked just a little bit there. And then it went sideways and then back up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it on the weekly, and it has that perfect, you outlined it there, but that spring.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to just show people what we're talking about here. You kind of have it, but if you even just look at this entire thing as a range, right?
Yep.
I would pull it maybe like that. I mean, this is such a nice fake out, volume went up below the range from being completely dead. That's going to go up.
Yeah. By the way, guys, that structure you've got there that Scott was just pointing out, you've got the large candle down, the little doji, and then the large candle back up. Most often when you see that at the end of in this case, we're coming down. So at the end of a downtrend, it usually indicates a low has been put in, that you've got some kind of reversal going on. Of course, nothing is guaranteed 100% of the time, but usually if you see that, or if it's going up and you see the opposite, where you see a big candle up, little doji, and then big candle back down.
Yeah.
There's a kind of reversal going on there. So, more to add on to that possibility, but man, love the link chart. That is one of my favorites.
I'm not even sure if I love the chart or the question more. Will it ever go up again? Makes the chart look so much better.
Yeah. So love it, man. It's great. It's fantastic. I don't know, man. We sit here, we look at, let me see if I can find it here real quick. I've got my, my S&P futures here, the E-minis. And
Yeah.
I mean, we just continue doing, again, I've got this target kind of up here around 45.72 We've got a pattern target up here at about 41.50. Overall, it's just, let me kind of zoom out here to the weekly here real quick, kind of get rid of some of this other stuff. But I mean, again, the same thing I've been talking about. Everybody's kind of giving me a hard time about when I said it looked like we may have that bottom down there. We're doing an ABC.
Bullish divergence all over the place. I can see
oh man,
that.
it's just, it's crazy. And here we go. We continue to go up, and people have been arguing it, like Bitcoin. They've been arguing since the lows. It's going to, it's going to go down. It's going to go down. They missed all this movement. I mean, here we are above that, the daily. Here we are above the weekly pivot. I mean, man, it's hard to say that there's anything macro-wise that's more bullish than what we're seeing there, especially this movement up off this weekly pivot. We broke out above it, pulled back, retested its support, rallied up here almost to the R1 pivot. I mean, this is just about as bullish as it gets on that large time frame. So it's not that it's going to continue going straight up from here, but, we're probably nearing a reversal point, probably. And then we'd look for it to pull back a bit, but man, it should stay above that weekly pivot. And when you get that pullback, if you want to enter, if it's coming back down there toward that weekly pivot, that's where you're looking for that reversal. You want to be in on that.
There's nothing I see on any, this is what scares me. There's nothing I see on any chart that I look at that indicates anything other than that the bottoms are in everywhere.
Yeah. But again, we got a lot of people here who,
it doesn't, I mean, that could be, God knows. Yeah. But
they don't know, but nothing's guaranteed, guys. Absolutely anything can happen. And we're giving you our opinions based on what's going on and what we know from past experience. But, at this point, if the bottom's not in, you should be of mind that price has to actually show you. The chart has to actually show you. The onus is on the chart now to prove that the bottom's not in, because everything in its grandmother, every kind of indicator we're looking at, basically screaming the bottom's likely in. So, man, look how close we are to the all-time high. Look at that.
It's crazy.
We're right here, knocking on the door.
Dip? What interest rate hikes? What dip? But I mean, now to be fair, historically, if you get like a major recession or depression, you do get these mind melting sort of bull rallies that go pretty close to the highs. It even happened, I think, in 29 in the Great Depression.
Sure. And here's the thing, again, if we're looking at this, if I'm thinking this is a wave 3 and we're on this wave 4 here, but there's multiple ways this could play out. It could be done here, ABC down, and we go up. It could be a flat. So we get ABC down, we get ABC up toward the all-time high, maybe even peaking out a bit. And then we get 5 waves back down to the swing low or a little bit lower, right? Could be a triangle. So we get ABC down as A, we'll get ABC up as B, then we'll have to do C, D, E, and then we break out. So these are things I've been talking about for months as well, because I'm looking at this as a fourth wave. And so there's multiple ways this could play out, and it's going to kill people. You know, if it's a flat or even a triangle, people are going to be falling over themselves because they can't figure out what's going on. They got everybody yelling recession and all this stuff. So they think, oh my God, it's got to go down. But at the same time, price, every time it looks like it's going to go down, it does a little bit. Then you get ready to do it, and then it goes back up, and you're like, what the heck, right?
Yeah.
So really tough.
Who wants to know your pivot setting? I think it's
yeah,
auto,
they're
right?
just auto. And I just use, there's multiple different pivots, guys. I put out a pivots master course, but I just use traditional pivots and just on auto. And I run with that. I learned, you know, when I was using them for years alone, just by themselves. I've learned to read them that way. So for me, that's what works.
I keep saying for people who are new, like it's just the best because you don't have to draw them. You don't have to argue about them. They're just there.
Yeah, exactly. They're there to help you. They're there to be your best friend.
Absolutely. Anything else you're looking at before we go?
Let me see here.
The answer can be no. It's fine.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if I got anything up here. It's really worth kind of looking at. I mean, we can jump here to Litecoin real quick here.
Give us Litecoin one more, because we were talking about that with Josh, and he was saying he was sort of surprised why has Bitcoin Cash pumped so hard when Litecoin's only up 20-something% and Bitcoin Cash is doing multiples.
Yeah. Litecoin, I mean, for me, it looks like we've got this 1-2 kind of going on here. So, you know, your initial 3 about $145, your larger degree 3 up here at around 157.5. And that's kind of where I'm looking right now for this to go up. I want to see an impulsive breakout here above this hourly pivot. If we can do it this week, that's right there at around 101, almost $102. But if we jump out here to the daily, you can see that we're just, you know, we're flirting with the daily pivot here. So if we can get this pop up here and come up through the top of this swing high in this range here, right around, what is that there? That's 105.72. We can pop that, you know, then we should be good to go on those higher movements up. But, you know, again, you know, Litecoin was the one that I was talking about back here most recently in this October, November area about, you know, wanting to be long. That one is right around 50. And so, you know, this has been another great one that we've been in. And then we just had kind of this sideways consolidation. Now we get some movement out of it. But like you said, man, it's hard to find charts that are really kind of screaming bearish, much less kind of hinting bearish. Everything seems to be pointing to the upside. So, you know, what do we do as traders? We play the charts, man. You know, don't worry about what everybody else is talking about. Don't worry about the news and whatnot. Play the charts until they show you something different. At least you've got an opportunity to get in then, other than sitting on the sidelines, you know, kicking yourself because it keeps going up without you and you're too scared to get in, right? Talk about pain.
Yeah. You got it, man. All right. Well, you know, Twitter Spaces. We got to get you on Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, man.
Keep it down, because we always, there's like days when there's no huge news cycle and we just want to talk about the market and things that are happening. It's a little strange of a forum, obviously, because you can't show your charts in the same way.
Yeah,
we got to get you on there.
Sure, man. Definitely.
Awesome, man. We're going to do that for sure. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Sounds good, man.
That's the deal, man. Appreciate it. Stay bullish, my friends.
Take care, guys.
All right, guys. That's all I got for you today. Of course, going over to Twitter Spaces in a moment. I believe we've got Raul Paul today, Peter Brandt on Twitter Spaces. So should be another pretty epic one over there. And of course, mark your calendars. But now my brain is not getting the date. But for the 26th, I would be interviewing RFK over on Twitter Spaces. That's all I got for you guys today. I will be back, of course, tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, and check out MELD. Peace.
That's dope.